Hello, this is Dalen Crawford, and today I will be talking about James Baldwin and his arguments in his book, The Fire Next Time. Now, in The Fire Next Time, James Baldwin says that the way Black Americans were treated makes America look like a liar, claiming to be a Christian and moral nation, but acting with cruelty and racism. Baldwin talks about the many ways America does not live up to its promises of freedom and justice. He shows that parts of society like religion, schools, the law, and the economy all work together to keep Black people in second class citizenship. These problems shaped Baldwin's childhood and teenage years, leaving him angry, afraid, and searching for a way to survive and tell the truth. One big contradiction Baldwin talks about is religion. America says it's a Christian country based on love and fairness, but Baldwin points out that many Christian churches supported racism or stayed silent about it. He says if the concept of God has any validity or any use, it can only be to make us larger, freer, and more loving. Instead, he saw religion used to control Black people, teaching them to suffer quietly instead of fighting back. This showed Baldwin that the Christian values America claimed to believe in were not truly practiced, especially when it came to race. Baldwin also shows how schools, the legal system, and the economy kept Black people down. Schools taught Black children that their history and achievements did not matter. The law treated Black people unfairly, protecting racist violence instead of stopping it. Black workers were stuck in low paying jobs with no real chance to move up. Even newspapers, movies, and TV shows spread lies that made Black people seem less important or less human. Baldwin realized that racism wasn't just about mean individuals, it was built into the whole system. Growing up in Harlem, Baldwin lived through the effects of all of this. He saw poverty, crime, and hopelessness all around him. Police treated people in his neighborhood badly. Jobs were scarce, and bad schools gave kids little hope. Baldwin's father, who was very strict and angry, showed him how racism could break a person's spirit. Baldwin said, "You were born where you were born and faced the future that you faced because you were Black and for no other reason." This made Baldwin fearful for his future. As a teenager, Baldwin became a preacher in the church, trying to find a way to escape the pain around him. For a while, religion gave him a sense of safety, but soon he realized that the church, like the rest of society, could not really protect him or change the system. Leaving the church was a turning point for Baldwin. He decided he had to face the truth about America and use his writing to fight against injustice. In The Fire Next Time, Baldwin warns that if America does not fix its racial problems, it will face serious consequences. He writes, God gave Noah the rainbow sign, no water, the fire next time. He meant that. If America doesn't change, the anger and pain will grow until there is no peaceful solution. Baldwin's own life, filled with fear, anger, and the search for meaning, shows just how deeply America's broken promises hurt the people it was supposed to protect. In The Fire Next Time, James Baldwin talks about meeting important leaders in the Black community. One of the main people he meets is Elijah Muhammad, the head of the Nation of Islam. They talked about how America treated Black people unfairly and how white society used Christianity and the legal system to keep Black people oppressed. Elijah Muhammad believed that Black Americans should separate completely from the white Americans and build their own communities and businesses. He also thought that Christianity had been used as a weapon to make Black people submit and that Black people should turn to Islam instead. After the meeting, Baldwin had mixed feelings. He understood why so many people were inspired by Elijah Muhammad. The Nation of Islam gave Black people pride, power, and a sense of belonging. Baldwin respected this because he saw how racism had crushed so many lives, but he also worried about the nation's message of separation. Baldwin believed that the real solution had to be love and understanding between Black and white people, not more division and hate. He knew that without real change, America would continue to suffer. Baldwin once said, I love America more than any other country in the world. And exactly for this reason, I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. During the 1960s, Black Americans began fighting harder for their rights and started seeing some changes. Leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. fought through nonviolent protests, believing that peaceful marches and speeches could win over the hearts of Americans. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference, led by King, organized huge events like the Montgomery bus boycott and the March on Washington. Meanwhile, other leaders like Malcolm X, who was also a part of the Nation of Islam, said Black people needed to defend themselves and take pride in their heritage without waiting for white approval. Young people also played a big role. Groups like the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee organized sit-ins at restaurants and freedom rides across the South to challenge segregation. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People fought for civil rights through the courts, winning important legal battles. All these efforts together led to huge victories, like the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which banned segregation in public areas, and the Voting Rights of 1965, which protected Black people's right to vote. Even though racism didn't disappear, Black Americans had begun to make real progress by standing up together, risking their lives, and refusing to accept second class citizenship anymore. Baldwin saw the courage of the movement and knew that the struggle was necessary. He believed that if America wanted to survive, it had to deal with this racism honestly, not with violence, but with real change and real brotherhood. In my opinion, race relations in the United States today are better than they were during Baldwin's time, but they still are far from perfect. There have been important changes, like the end of legal segregation and laws that protect voting rights and civil rights. Many people from different races now live, work, and go to school together. We also see more representation of different ethnic groups in politics, sports, movies, and businesses. However, there are still big problems with racism, inequality, and unfair treatment, especially when it comes to the criminal justice system, housing, education, and healthcare. A lot of people still feel judged or treated differently because of their skin color. I would not say that there is true racial reconciliation yet. While some groups have made progress in understanding each other, real healing has not happened on a large scale. Many wounds from the past are still open. There is still mistrust, fear, and anger between different ethnic groups in many parts of the country. Looking at the global community, I would also say there is not full harmony and peace when it comes to racial and ethnic relations. Around the world, racism, ethnic violence, and discrimination still exist. We see conflicts in different countries based on race, religion, or nationality. Sometimes immigrants and refugees are treated very badly. Even in places that are considered peaceful, people of different backgrounds are not always treated equally or respectfully. Some of the main issues that still impact our communities today include hate crimes, racist stereotypes, unfair policing, discrimination in jobs and schools, and political leaders who sometimes make division worse instead of bringing people together. Social media also spreads misinformation and hateful ideas very quickly, which can make problems worse. To improve racial understanding and ethnic togetherness, I think we need to do a few important things. Starting with education, must teach the real history of all people, not just one side of the story. Students should learn about different cultures, struggles, and achievements. Second, leaders must speak out clearly against racism and discrimination and set an example of fairness and respect. Third, people need real chances to meet, work with, and understand those from different backgrounds through community programs, school activities, and workplaces. And lastly, Open conversations about race without anger or fear need to happen more often so people can really listen to each other. In the end, building true racial and ethnic unity will take time, patience, and honesty. But I believe it can happen if enough people are willing to work for it.